Did you have a ceremonial burning of your outfield glove?
No, not yet. Because obviously going into last year, it was, you're going to split time with Wilson at first base, and that ended up being more innings, I think, in the outfield than at first base. So, no, haven't burned it yet. I'm gonna be ready to play some outfield in case something happens. But, excited to hopefully stick at first base for a while.
How did that change your winter? Like when that trade happens, do you spend more time for? I don't know how much infield work you've even done.
No, it didn't change anything. I've like I said, I'm going to be ready to play both. So that's what I was doing. So it didn't really change anything. Maybe more mental than anything. It's like, you're going to play more first base, more than likely. Still get your reps in the outfield and stuff. But like in spring training, I'll be running out in the outfield. But yeah, it didn't really change too much.
What was the reaction of learning about that trade that Wilson was dealt to Boston?
Yeah, I love Wilson. I loved, obviously we got to spend a spring training together at first base, and I said it before, but he was asking a guy like that asking me questions about first base was kind of crazy, and just kind of teaching him the ropes over there. And then obviously he ended up playing a really good first base. So we had a really good connection, and definitely going to miss him. But I think it was a move that's going to pay off for us in the long run with the St. Louis Cardinals, and But for me personally, like I said earlier, I'm excited to hopefully stick at first base for a while and continue to put the work in to get better over there. Obviously, had some experience over there in the last few years playing behind him and Wilson and Goldie. So, but excited to hopefully be the guy over there and put in the work.
You showed up in the big leagues with Yadier Molina, Albert Pujols, Goldie, Waino. Now you're the veteran guy. What is that like? Are you going to try to speak up more and try to lead more with your voice? I know you want to lead with your play as an example, but do you try to be more of that leader?
Yeah, somebody's got to. Somebody's got to. I think I was talking about this earlier today, but it's going to take not just, the Donnies and me and New Bars. It's going to take everybody kind of stepping up, and because there's going to be a lot of guys coming up from the minor leagues that are going to help us win ball games, and they're going to have to be, I don't want to say showed the ropes, but they're going to have to kind of, it's a lot when you get called up to the big leagues, right? There's a lot that comes with it, and so I think it's going to be a full team effort of, everybody pulling in the same direction, and so, but for me, yeah, I mean, that's what I want to do. I kind of want to be that guy that people go to, and obviously, I'm still learning. I'm still, trying to make adjustments in this league. So, any of my experience that I can, give to these guys and kind of show them the way, or make their adjustment a little bit easier and seamless. That's what I want to do. So yeah, it's weird. You call me the old guy. It feels weird. But yeah, I think that just comes with the territory. So super, super excited to have that role.
Whether that's been the minors or college, have you kind of stepped into a role like that, being kind of the more experienced guy and being kind of a little bit vocal in that sense?
It hasn't been it's been more of just kind of how I play the game, like how I go about my business and how I prepare and how I play the game. Like that's kind of how I've tried to influence guys and say, hey, like it doesn't look perfect, but this is kind of what it should look like. And, I learned that from, you talk about the Yachties and the Alberts and the Goldies that I came up with, came up when they were here, and watched them do their thing. And I just observed. Like I didn't ask a lot of questions. Probably should have asked more, but I didn't. I just observed and watched them, do their thing. Specifically, Goldie at first base, watching him do that, and then watching him in the cage, and so I just observed, and I learned a lot from that. So I think I need to take a step forward in the vocal leadership I'm not going to be a hoorah kind of, pump the guys up, but I think there can be conversations and there can be, talks that can influence guys. So I think that's where I need to get a little bit better with and be able to have those conversations. But, at the end of the day, kind of want to lead how I play, between the white lines. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Heim last year, throughout the year, spent time with guys, kind of went door to door, did some check-ins with stuff. What were the conversations like with you as kind of that process went on? Because obviously it's talking to Wilson about, hey, what does this fit for you? What is it not? Talking to Nato, same sort of deal. When it comes to you and you all are having that conversation, what's that part of it kind of like?
Yeah, when I had conversations with Heim, it was more of what was your experience in the minor leagues and how can we make that transition a little bit more seamless for guys to the big leagues, because like I said earlier, it's a big jump. And so those were a lot of our conversations were that. I don't think there were many conversations about, the team or anything like that. It was more, what are my thoughts on, things that are happening up here that we need to, maybe do down in the minor leagues or whatever it may be. So those are more of the conversations that we had. And I mean, that's really been it. I just show up and play ball. So it's kind of pretty simple.
Nobody on this team knows Donnie better than you. What's his state of mind? Like, how tough is it hearing his name that he might not be your teammate in tomorrow or 2 weeks from now? Or what's the emotions there?
Yeah, I think it's tougher on our wives than it is than either of us. Obviously, with the little one, the 3-month-old that we have now, my wife needs his wife for some help. So I think that's been tougher on her. But no, Donnie's obviously a really good baseball player. He's a great teammate. He's I don't want to say he's got it figured out, but he has a really good process and understands what he needs to do. And took a step forward last year with the leadership aspect of it. So, super grateful that he is still on our team. Obviously, not sure what's going to happen, but if I had a choice, he would be with us for this year and years to come. So, he's a great guy, but a lot of teams want him on their team. So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, definitely love Donnie to death.
Early, you talked about being, still learning, and obviously you're still fairly early on, even though you're one of the older guys. But most of the team is sort of in that same space where you're at now with the veterans gone. How do you, with a group like that that's still finding their way, sort of go about setting expectations, the standard, like what you guys feel like you should be able to do as a group when it's, you don't really have that, whether it's a veteran or whoever they're sort of leading the way?
Yeah, I think I was thinking about this a couple days ago. It's no matter what this season looks like or the result, what it looks like at the end of 162, like if we all have a standard and we all have what's the word I'm looking for? If there's a standard set early and we can all abide by it, I don't want to sound it's not like rules or anything, but like there's a certain way that Cardinals play baseball, and if we can all do it, and it'll work itself out. But I think that's the way you kind of get these guys together. You set a standard and you all kind of buy into it, and if you don't buy into it, that's on you, and there's guys that want to buy into it that are coming. So I think I'm excited to see what guys have done this offseason and make those adjustments they've made and see kind of where their heads are at. I know I'm kind of all over the place right now. I'm just thinking out loud, but I think it's going to take all of us pulling in the same direction, whether you're the starting shortstop or you're the starting catcher or whoever, starting pitcher, whatever you are, you're a bench guy. Like if we're all pulling the same direction, I think it'll work out because we do have a lot of talent. We're young, but we have experience. So I think there's opportunity for us to do really cool things this year.
Alec, last year when we were in this setting, you talked a lot about the adjustments that you were making at the plate. You had a productive season, so you have that now to draw from. What's the next step for you? What are you looking to do at the plate that you didn't do last year?
That's a tough one. If I can just repeat next year, I'd be okay with that. I mean, it just boils down to consistency. Like I think I said that last year, but it's just I just want to be consistent. I just want to be, in the lineup every day and helping this team win baseball games. And obviously helping this team on defense as well. So just consistency, health, obviously. And this offseason for me has been more of just solidifying my routine and my just more mechanical stuff, like not changing anything, but just trying to solidify it so that when things do go awry, that I can reel it back in more quickly than I have been able to in the past. So that's kind of been the focus this year. It's not anything too drastic, but obviously building strength, building just more mobility, stuff like that. But it's about that time where I'm ready to kind of get down to spring training and showcase that. So.
What's the biggest thing fatherhood has taught you?
You don't need as much sleep as everybody says you do. No, it's great. It's very eye-opening and life-changing, like to have a human being that can't do anything for themselves and you have to do everything for them, and like your schedule revolves around them, and it's very life-changing, obviously. But he's awesome. He's great. He's a big personality. Looks nothing like me, which is good. I'm glad he doesn't. But he's great. He's great. It's super awesome.
You bring him up here for the weekend, or you?
No, he stayed home. But he'll be in spring training, and I don't know if he'll be running around by that time, but he'll be running around at some point around here. So.
You put a bat in the crib yet?
He's got about 4 bats right now, and I don't know which one he's gonna swing. But I'm gonna put a golf club in his hand first. Gives me an excuse to go play golf. But yeah, he's more. He uses his left hand more right now, so we'll see how that works out.
You won your first Silver Slugger this offseason. Did you text Donnie after and say better luck next year, or how did that kind
He texted me about 2 weeks before they even announced it and said congrats on the Silver Slugger. So. No, it wasn't even in the forefront of my mind. Like to begin the season, obviously going into spring, it was a focus on defense and get better on defense, get faster, and then obviously the season comes around and by the end of the year it's brought up, and that was the first time I even thought about it. And Donnie was in there, and I don't think it was talked about too much. I just think it was what it was, and we were going to be happy either way. So, but no, he was a good sport about it.
Going back to that idea of consistency, this is probably the first season you've come into a year knowing you have a spot in the lineup, you have a position. Has that been helpful for you mindset at all as you prepare for 2026 and not having to worry about where the at-bats are going to come from, where you're going to find plenty of time?
Yeah, mentally it's definitely helpful. I think the biggest thing is when I get down to spring training on February 14th, like I don't have to hit the ground running and try and make an impression and obviously I'm going to get my work in. Like this isn't an excuse to, I'll be ready to play games when I get to spring training. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I can use that time to ramp up and actually get ready for the season, work on things I want to work on, and not have to worry about the results and trying to prove to people that I can hit at this level. So that's where I'll probably see the comfort side of it, is I can use this to get ready for the season. But yeah, definitely mentally it's more takes a little load off.
Was there a bit of relief this year? Because every year prior to this, you look at the batted ball data, under metrics, it says the production should have been there, and it just didn't quite match up to that. Obviously, you have a big year this year. Is there like kind of relief in the process that you've had that you stuck to, and you've made some changes within that, but now the results finally kind of backed that up?
Yeah, I mean this will be my 5th season, and throughout the first 4 seasons, like I knew I was doing the right thing, and not even the first 4, probably the first 2. Like I knew I was doing the right thing. Like I knew I was, whatever it may be, like I was swinging at the right pitches, I was hitting the ball hard, like whatever it may be. I knew I was doing what I needed to do, and like you said, I just wasn't getting the results. But I think I did a good job mentally of just not letting that kind of be like, all right, well, this is going to be my whole career. Like, what am I even doing? So, yeah, and then there were obviously adjustments where, you know, if I can hit the ball a little higher, the center fielder doesn't catch it, it goes over the wall, right? So, like, there's those adjustments. But, yeah, it was nice to see some balls fall that this year that may have not fallen a couple years ago. But, yeah.
Alec, can you bring us inside of the room a little bit to discuss what Donnie brings inside of a clubhouse, whether that's leadership, conversations, whatever it may be? Can you shed some light on what it is that he brings to a room?
I wouldn't even say it's to the room. It's just what he does on the field. Like it's if you just watch him play a baseball game, like he always has a dirty uniform. Like he's never, he's never taken days off. Like he's gives you everything he's got for, and he was playing through some things last year that most guys wouldn't, and he was doing it. And did he necessarily want to? Probably not, but he was doing it because he knew that he could help us win baseball games. So yeah, and then underneath it's like his process is really good, his routine is really good. There's never any downtime with Donnie. Like he's in the training room, in the weight room, in the cage, like doing something, and that's the way it should be, right? Like this is our job. That's what it should look like if you want to play it, if you want to be an all-star, a gold glover, all the accolades he has. Like if you want to do that, this is what it looks like. And I think he's one of those guys where he can have conversations, and he's fine with having conversations. You may not like what he says, but he'll have them. But he's more of, I'm just going to show you how it's supposed to be done. And I think he would say he doesn't have it figured out either, but he's pretty damn close. So.
Do you think that attribute is undervalued or overvalued externally? Like looking at a clubhouse and a dugout of someone that plays the game the right way on the field for a young club like this, to be able to have a leader in the clubhouse that these guys can look up to, the J.J. Weatherholds of the world, when they come up here to look after a Donnie or yourself. Like, is that something that's overvalued on the outside, or maybe underappreciated for how much of an impact that has on the trajectory of the club?
I definitely wouldn't say it's overvalued. I think it's one of the more important things that you can have in a clubhouse. Just to have, when JJ does come up, whenever that may be, like we can just point to Donnie and say, go do what he does. Like just do what he does and you will be just fine. Or, and that's, you can say that about a lot of different guys, pitchers, whoever it may be. So it's definitely important to have that, especially with where we're at as the St. Louis Cardinals. Like we're going to have, like I said earlier, there's going to be a lot of young guys come up and it's just going to be a team full of young guys, and you can't necessarily huddle them all and sit around in a circle and tell them what to do. Like they've kind of got to figure it out on their own sometimes, and the easiest way to do that is just go watch these guys play and watch how they go about their day from when we get here at 1 o'clock and we leave at 11 o'clock. Just watch them for however long that is, and more often than not, you'll figure it out from that. So yeah, I think it's super important to have that in the clubhouse.